Right, if I mess up slightly on this recording, you'll have to forgive me. I've done this about 20 times and obviously I haven't got the battery power to keep on waiting because I've got the rest of the day to think about. Right at the moment I'm being stunk out by fart smells, but and choked by a catalytic converter, which has been extremely bad this morning. But there are a lot more important things I need to mention than that. But let's get this out of the way first, shall we? So basically this morning is basically bikes to erections, black and blue timed, loads of black and blue, red, white, sick white and grey, and a couple of knife shaped. I'm not sure if they had a gun shaped yet. Ambulance with sirens and black and blue cars after that. Blue sexual car and motorbike timed to erection at the same time, both come together, colliding each way. Then there's a load of setups going to the bus station. 4 people trying to cough and sneeze in my face. Most of these were sneezers this morning, and that can be up to 150 times a day. But we haven't had it that high at the moment. Choked by catalytic converter, as I mentioned. I rearranged my schedule because it's a blue sky and sunny day once again, and I needed the cloud to be coming over for the picture I wanted to do, and just in case it doesn't, and it doesn't look promising because the cloud's thin as well. The very small bits of cloud that are up there are not covering the sun. So you've got that, and then obviously I'm going to get into the important stuff now. About 4 days ago, my support worker, which is connected to people in authority, like the social worker and people that deal with my situation, are not very happy with me experiencing burning pain at home. And now I keep on telling people it's caused by energy weapons or stuff like that, but either way, whatever's causing it, I had to stay at my dad for 7 weeks, and when I stayed at my dad's for 7 weeks, I didn't experience this burning problem at all. However, I did feel a bit burny the day I came back, but I think that might have been more like a symptom that occurred with me rather than being caused. When I did get back, it continued for a little while, and then it has come to a kind of a stop for the time being. So that's that. And the other thing I want to mention is I put a load of negative stories on the internet, like on Facebook and YouTube. I've had the police around, and they said that this stuff that you're writing when you go out is going to have to stop, and also all the photographs that you take out in the streets has got to stop as well, and threatened me with jail, saying that we're in a different time, it's not like it used to be, we understand your situation and the fact that you've not had sex in your whole life and all that sort of stuff, although they tend not to believe that, unfortunately. So basically when it comes to sexuality, this is all on my old account. I've never had sex in my whole life. They keep on going on about this Wayne business of 1994 as a digging thing, but I was saying that if this is going to be the case, then they need to look at all the problems that I stated in the Deep Depression life story pack from the beginning of when I started it, which is 2002. I did take that into account, that specific name, before I did that Deep Depression life story pack. But anyway, the next thing I want to mention is sexuality. Because obviously, like I said, I've never had anyone. I've been sexually abused as a child. I've been stopped from getting anyone sexual all my life, and I'm told I'm a sick cunt if I don't fancy a negative attraction, or what I nickname the toff faces, which is basically the unhygienic looking type, sometimes with misty glasses that look very unclean, with greasy hair, usually black hair, and they're usually a fat build woman that looks at you in a laughing backwards way, in a stupid way or goofy way, that has that unhygienic sort of look, or sneezes in a horrible disgusting way, or just looks very like your body's full of warts for the attraction. Now, I don't take to that sort, but that is what everybody are telling me that I've got to go with. So they stopped me getting anything in the past. My enemies have insulted me, telling me I'm a sicko if I don't fancy an old granny. They even said, haha, we've messed it up, stopping you getting a sexual 18-year-old lady, basically, in the past. Well, I'm told I'm a sicko if I look at anyone under the age of 38. Well, this is increasing to 40 now because of my age. Because I'm 43 years of age and they only allow a couple of years difference in age. It's gone to 43, but you've got to take into account the people that sexually abused me as a child is 20 years younger than what my age is today at the time it happened. And also I'm being told that if you don't go with a single mother, you're a sick bastard. But the problem is, everyone under the age of 40 is a single mother, and they know this. And it gets even better because I'm being told that you're supposed to go with a used piece of shit and saying it doesn't matter because you're a rapist and all the rest of it, because they think I'm a child rapist, woman beater and whatever. So there's nothing I can do about that, and because I'm being mistaken as Saven, it just causes a whole load of trouble on top of that. So obviously I can't take to the negative types, and obviously when you've not had sex all your life, you know, you shouldn't be told to go with the negative types. You should have someone at least basic, even if it's a very stale used person, do you know what I mean? But no, I've hit an age where you're told you're a sick cunt. I've been told I'm a sick cunt this year by people aged 37. And I'm not being funny, but Jesus Christ was crucified at 33. And even he had a sexual person. Like, obviously it's illegal what he did, unfortunately. But they've taken it out of the Bible. Because he went with Mary Magdalene when she was 11 because she was a prostitute. But that piece of information had to be taken out of the Bible. So it's not exactly a good example as a saviour, is it? And then you've got to consider that you've got to follow that saviour. Anyway, I changed my plan when I went out this morning because I went to the bus station and I'm here because obviously it's a blue sky sunny day. They predicted it's going to be quite cloudy, but that's not the case at the moment, and this is why I've rearranged my schedule. Now let's get on to the more serious stuff, shall we? Because my Facebook and YouTube channel are under investigation at the moment and the police have got it suspended, so I can't use it, so I've had to open a new account. So that's what's happened there. However, they said they might be able to let me have the account back. They just need to suspend it while they go through it at this minute in time. So that's what's happened there. Obviously I'm banned from writing stuff down or photographing stuff when I'm out in the streets. I should still do it, but I should be a bit more discreet and not cause offence, because the problem is, even though they threaten me with jail, I'm not happy about the fact that I've never had sex all my life and I'm being insulted with sexual setups, basically saying I'm a sick bastard and ripping you to pieces, knife you dead, smashed fucking 50 tons of shit into you, you know, getting really nasty and malicious and aggressive with setups, and the fact and trying to accuse me of rape and all the rest of it when I've never had anyone. So they're basically taking the biscuit and I'm not very happy about it. But you know, if I have to end up in jail, I won't be a very happy person, but I'm going to still do it, but a bit more discreet than before, so just make the odd sentence, because obviously they're getting a bit funny about it and obviously they don't want to have to do this, but they're saying even me doing this, photographing things or writing stuff down, I could get myself in deep trouble, or I could end up ending attacked myself, and it's not a safe thing to do this day and age. So that's what the police and all the rest of it said. I've had the home treatment team, so I'm not happy about that, because it means that they force medication on me and I have to take it because they're coming around to give it me. So I'm on 4 milligrams of risperidone at the moment, but it was 3 and it was 2 before that, because I'm not one that likes taking that, and I only take it usually when I'm very depressed. But if I don't take it, I'm in very serious trouble with the police, and it could mean jail or hospital, so I have no choice in the matter. Crow says negative attraction, Justin, negative, knife you dead, sicko. Can't remember what else the Crow said. And then, like in the past, as I mentioned before, when these animal sounds occur, they suddenly come to a sudden stop as I push record. Oh, hang on, that's rare. There's no voice sound that time, but that's what occurred. Right, Crow's just repeating, knife you dead, you're a child molester, you raped her. Negative attraction, supposed to be a negative attraction, something like that. I'll be choked by catalyst. What's known as the catalytic converter hot point on this specific stretch. There's timing it again, they're doing it every time. Do it every single time I come up here, by the way, and every fucking time. I just slipped into a van coming as well. Obviously I'm taking into account today's problems and adding it to the video, as I always do, but I'm just updating you on a few other things which are on my old account, because obviously I don't have access to that. So this is what I'm trying to say. But that catalytic converter hot point back there, if we go back to the Christmas time period, or just after that, January or whatever it was, I was almost killed there by a tanker because I slipped in the road, and they decided to time that time to smash me up. There's also been tree branches trying to smash me down this path I'm walking down now, and there's been invisible traps. So basically, you're trying to walk somewhere and you're suddenly being forced to go to a stop. We're going back to January, I think it was. There was a couple of 11-year-old girls, roughly about that age, 9 to 11, and they're about 20 foot in front of me. They're coming from the field to go and walk ahead of me in front. But what happened was, as I was walking down there in the same direction, and it's like an invisible sheet that was spread across that stopped you walking any further down the path, and it was feeling like a magnetical force. So if you were to, like, for example, like a blown up balloon type thing, if you put your whole body on a balloon, it holds you backwards from going anywhere. It's that sort of feeling, but without the physical force that's touching you. That it feels like a magnetical force that's stopping you move. So you try moving your foot, you can't move it because you've got like a magnetical, it stops you from getting through. And it lasted for a couple of minutes. But there's a lot of things that have been happening which are on my old account. I will try and put some of these, if the accounts are still there, to the new channel to explain what I mean by this. Right, now we're on to the most important thing I wanted to mention this morning. And this person gets up early, this Gemma, because she woke me up with a phone call, basically. So I've had to change my number. But she got hold of my number on my new Facebook account that I made. So what's happened is, yesterday I looked on her profile, because a suggestion came up, and I thought, well, I'll have a quick look, why not? And I was on that for about 5 minutes, no longer than that. Just having a quick look around her nose, and that was it. I wasn't really spending much attention, but I did notice she's put a picture on there which goes back about 6 months ago, where she's doing a spiteful pose on the picture, but and she's like with a sexual lady with her. Obviously Gemma, I've been told, if we go back 10 years ago, or around about that time, a couple of people about my age or just a bit older told me that they are shocked that I can fancy Gemma, because they were saying that's not sicko attraction. Obviously the times are different today, obviously, and she thinks I'm a sicko because she's 33, and the fact that I'm 43 basically, or she's coming up 33, 33, sorry. But going back when we had the lockdown, I was speaking to her, seeing her on the beach on a regular basis, but there were some days where she had a split personality or would just ignore me. And obviously when I went into the shop, she doesn't speak when I go into the YMCA shop. So that's the end of that. I left a message there going back about a year, no more than that, back just as I moved to Yeovil. Oh God, just a little under 3 years ago, something like that, I can't remember now. To ask if she wants coffee or whatever. She phoned me up getting nasty down the phone, and then obviously this person phoned me up who's a bloke, but it might not be connected, to smash me out on the railway track at Highbridge, but then met me in Bridgewater, and I had to get out of his way quickly before he you know, took any moves to knife me or whatever. But that might not be connected to her. It could be several people it could be connected to, so it could have been Kimberly, it could have been Sally, it could have been Gemma. It wouldn't have been Sadie, and it could have been even Stephanie, but I don't think that's the case. Or, you know, other people I haven't even mentioned, or it could be just somebody that's a rogue that doesn't like me because he's seen me on dating and wants me knifed dead, basically. Because I've been on dating sites for many years. I stopped using them in 2018 because I spent, I think it's something like £11,000 in total, and I've not even got anything in that time. So that's that. Anyway, back to Gemma. I saw her on the beach several times, obviously, as I mentioned, and then obviously I moved to Yeovil and then she turned against me. Anyway, I had a phone call from her today at around about 7:30 AM, and she got quite nasty with me. She said that I've been looking at her profile, and I said yes, I have. I said it came up in suggestions when I made my new account. So I've had to change my number this morning to another new number, but I did have another SIM card to do that, so that wasn't a problem, and I didn't put any credit on that other number. So that was that. Right, obviously for legal reasons I can't give the surname of this Gemma, but what happened is she phoned me up saying, "What the fuck do you think you're doing going on my fucking Facebook when I don't even fucking know you, going around looking to see if I'm fucking single, you sick bastard?" And then she says, "I'm a 32-year-old fucking woman and you're preying on fucking children." Basically, she thinks she's a child, so she used that explanation, and then she came to another bit of information where she said, well, this is it now. She says, yeah, I am going to the fucking police. And she said, no, I won't. Even better, I fucking get someone to do you over. Say, you got to learn from what you're doing. You're a fucking sad bastard. And saying, I'm 32 years of age and you're in your 40s. You should be looking at someone that's not sexual and should be taken to the other type. That's what she did. So she got nasty about that. Then there's a few other things that she said. She started effing and blind and getting really nasty. I mean, really, really nasty. But I can't remember what it was. And then she said, I thought you would have learned from the last time that I phoned you up back in 2021. So, yeah, that's the year, sorry. I just remembered now. When I left that piece of paper in there for her that I just mentioned to ask if she wants a coffee or a cup of tea, you know. Because obviously we spoke, but not to a point where we kind of knew each other, but I wanted to know her a bit more, but obviously that went through. Right, so she said that, and then after that, she said, you don't know what I got against you, and said, the amount of people that are after you, and the amount of people, you've just landed your fucking self in shit. You've just fucking landed your whole life. You just landed your fucking life completely. You said, you come anywhere in near Burnham-on-Sea or Highbridge, you're fucking gonna be dead. You have just landed your fucking self right in it. You're a sad bastard. What, preying on little women at 32 years of age, and you think I'm a feeble fucking person or feeble face or something like that, and so you want to start? They said, because I'm having you fucking taken out. I'm having you fucking knifed down. So yeah, she got quite nasty about it. So in the end, she just said all that, and I decided, well, I'd end the call. So I ended the call. And basically, as this was going on, I mean, she was going on like this for about 3 minutes when she phoned me up. I couldn't really phone her back because I didn't have any credit on that phone because it's a new number. So in the end, what I did is I just broke the SIM card and changed my number, and I'm going to do a new Facebook and YouTube account later on to do that as well. So, because I don't want the number existing on that. I forgot about that. I just remembered that this minute in time. So this evening I should be making a new YouTube and Facebook account, or well, I might just change a number over. Actually, you could just do that, yeah, because I don't want to mess about doing that. Yeah, so just in case she locates me from my number from the actual YouTube and Facebook in a different way than on the phone. So just remember that you can do that. But anyway, that's what she went on about. She got nasty about, and you know, if we go back before the lockdown, even the setups, I mean, setups have never been nice, and but they were actually saying that you paid the price for crimes, that they included Stephanie Hill, but the problem is, when they made the suggestion that I paid the price for the crime of sexual crimes with this woman, I've never had sex with her. The only sex I've had in my whole life is me being sexually abused as a child. We have this issue of Wayne's World, which is a bit of a conspiracy that I've had to explain as a storyline if we go back to the early Deep Depression life story packs. But it's very difficult to explain because they can work sly with this one, you see. Because, as I said, basically, you need to go through that, basically, for me to explain, because, you know, this sexuality, they're using any possibility. Even a little girl that was in the swimming pool at school when I was about 5 years old, or whatever, and I was cuddling onto her while swimming. They're even using that as an excuse to claim that I've had sex. They're doing things like that, basically. And that was at, I can't remember what school it was. I think it might have been Monkton Priors or Elmwood, but I might have been a bit older than 5, but either way. And even that wasn't like, you know, a good-looking sort of person. It's like the zombie type in an adult. But, you know, that person would be married anyway, so I couldn't go with her. And she's going to be negative attraction because she's probably about my age, you know. But anyway, to cut all this shit out of the way, because it's irritating trying to explain all this, I haven't had sex properly in my whole life. Right, there's a little bit I was going to mention on top of this, but where I'm stumbling from my words and not thinking straight and losing concentration because of a case of people walking in my direction where I have to suddenly stop the recording, I've been a bit confused and I've forgotten what the next bit is. So, but I've given you the main details of what, you know, what's happened this morning. When I moved to Yeovil, there's someone I actually knew at Yeovil College. She's got the face of a dog, so she's not a very pretty type of person for most people, and obviously I didn't find her that attractive either. Actually, she was probably known as one of the ugliest people by a lot of people that have insulted her or said that at the time at Yeovil College, going back to 1996 area. Well, over the years, believe it or not, her face is pretty much the same. She's still got that smoothish skin, so she's not that ugly. However, for facial appearance, there are not many people that go for that type. But she is actually still quite sexy. But the problem is, when I saw her in 2022 on the train going to Weymouth, she's turned against me. Thanks to these bullshitters thinking that I'm Savannah and a rapist and a dangerous person, causing this woman to turn against me. So if I did know her, but not very well. And also I've spoken to her sister, I believe it is, called Gemma. Now this woman's an old person. She's younger than me, and she's younger than her sister, but she's one of those that's developed a rough old type of appearance and got grey hair as well. But where her sister is actually older and still got a smooth skin face and a sexual appearance. So it's not age as such which causes it, but when it comes to sexuality or anything like that, whatever I find in this life, if that's possible, or whether I get staked sexually, I don't know, then there's absolutely nothing I can rely on in the past. Everything in the past is taken, or they've turned against me. We're up to the number 0 of still looking for someone. It's got to be someone new. There's nothing I can do about it, thanks to all these bastards that I put my... If we go to a clairvoyant reading that I had 15 years ago roughly, this is a past life, and apparently I was sexually abused in my last life as a child, and when I was a young woman that was working in a lab or something like that, I had my life taken nastily, and I never had a partner in my last life. In this life I've been sexually abused, not had anybody, and then obviously when I'm born again in my next life, what happens when I'm born and I get raped as a child again? That's 3 murders on sexuality in 3 lives, Christ. So that means, and obviously I don't worship Christ, I have to give you the reason for that as well. Right, went to the church for 3 years to try and to ask God for a partner and to put my faith in Jesus and all the rest of it. My life actually got worse, believe it or not. In 2022, I had up to 150 threats in one day being mistaken as Savannah. I've been photographed almost about the same amount of times in one day or more, being mistaken as that person, with mostly threats when I'm photographed, which is causing everywhere to be mass amounts of trouble wherever I go. Any county in Somerset or Dorset, I'm just being known as Savannah. Getting told I'm going to be beaten up, knifed, gunned down, stabbed, beaten to death or whatever. There's nothing you can do about that. And it's on sexuality as well, because this Savannah's done something wrong and people are twisting me as that person, taking pictures of me, getting corrupt and twisted about it. So we've got that problem. Also, on top of that, back in 2022, that year in particular, there was at least 60 people, and this was every single day I went out, people were sneezing in my face at least 60 times per day, which pissed me right off. It didn't happen so much in 2023, but it is picking up this year in 2024. Since December 2022 to now, the voice sounds have been the worst they've been by animals speaking and talking since before 2011 area. Right, I can't remember when it was exactly, whether it's March, April or May, but there was a 6-week period where there was only 2 or 3 days out of 6 weeks where there was just about 400 in one day. Otherwise, each and every day for that 6 to 7 weeks, they timed a loud bike timed to an erection, which is record breaking. And take into account, when I was living at my old place, they did admit the police are not very happy with the way the setup is occurring when the loud bike tying to an erection has occurred, when I was speaking to my doctor and people like that in authority before I moved from Burnham-on-Sea to Yeovil. Now the first year I moved there, the loud bikes weren't too bad, and nor was it that bad in 2022. It's only when you hand over to 2023, but it gets worse, and then obviously everything that was good back in the times of when I was living at Burnham-on-Sea. Wasn't good, but it's better than Yeovil. And also I was in my 30s at the highest point, but even though I was in the highest point of my 30s, I thought it'd still be possible to get some form of sexual person for the first time in my life. And you know, you're desperate for sex or whatever, never had anyone, and now you're in your 40s, it's too fucking late, you've been sexually hanged, and this is why I'm getting a lot nastier on the recordings, and why it's landed into the social worker and the police and whatever coming around with a home treatment team to give me medication down my fucking throat. Right, since I lived up the Thorn House, there's a few bad things that have happened. I've had to turn the camera this way because of the wind, and I've got to move because there's people now becoming packed. But basically, I've had a £1,000 money pack go missing, which is a money pack that I had initially to pay for when I do move, but I had it in with my mask missing from my flat. And then I decided to build up a £500 one, but hide it somewhere. And obviously, that got taken as well. So then I did a £200 one, just in case I lose my card and I've got no money or something like that. Even that one was found, but on that day, I went out at the wrong time in the wrong place, and I forgot to hide it. The other thing is, Helen, when she's one of the staff workers, she didn't do it on purpose. She was only helping, but she turned the heating on when she thought she was trying to turn it off, and she opened all the windows and opened the doors for me, going into my flat. We'll have my old school jungle records on there, next to the radiator. So like I said, it's a Saturday, it's busy, it's sunny, you see blue skies, and it's bringing everybody out. But yeah, the records were against the radiator, and they must have been on for about an hour, possibly 2 hours, and it melted all those old school jungle records, which included Nutty 1 off the Nut EP from Bare Necessities Recordings, which is just another label, which was released in 1993, which is one of my favourite records. Legendary Volume 3 on Legend Records, which is Lee and Gwanged, Too Deep and Lee and Tango Solutions. The Legendary Volume 1, which is The Execution and Deep Concentration, on Legend Records, which is a Q Project track. I also lost Rev P 1994 on Impact Records. There's Rhythm Process on the other side, but I don't like that track. I only like 1994, the track that says Beautiful Woman, do do. But the other one I lost was Pesce World of Music on Infrared Records, which is another top favourite, and also the Enforcers 6 EP from Reinforced Records, which had the Alliance First Impressions on it, which is written by Q Project's Spinback and Gwange. And you also had Wax Doctor the Saint, the Simon Templar mix on that specific record, which are my two favourites. I didn't like Find Yourself by Erison or whatever it is, and I'm not keen on Covert Operations Ice Cold. It's not a track that I'd say is rubbish. It's a good track, but it's not an excellent track. Right, the other records that got damaged was Subsequence, You're the One, and it has release on the other side. The Anthill Mob 123 Adrian Blunt remix on Underdog Recordings, which is another top favourite. I also lost Making Ground, Take Me Higher, and I like the Ragga mix, which is like black and red on the record part, and it's produced by Rupert Parks, which is Photo, which is also another favourite. And there are several others that got damaged, and in today's price, not what I paid, but in today's price, you'd be looking at roughly £3,000 to buy those records back, because they're all in mint condition, those records that I got. But you know, I wasn't happy about it. I couldn't argue with her or anything like that for putting heating on. She was only trying to help, but I did inside lost my temper, but I managed to keep my cool. Right, the other thing that pissed me off is I used £1,400 of M discs. Again, these were pre-bought before they put price up on them because they discontinued them. And this neighbour kept making lots of banging underneath me, and it was messing up the discs when I was recording them. But I didn't realise that there was frequency waves in the air. So when I recorded all those discs, the ones that I managed to get done, So out of £1,400 of discs, I only managed to get about 50 discs recorded. Well, I realised that there was faults on some of the tracks, on 3/4 of the tracks, where there's phone signal frequencies or high frequencies that were passing through in the room when I either saved the track or did something at that time, and it appeared to go on all the discs that I recorded. So I ended up chucking every single M-disc that I had out, which is 1,400 when you with the completed ones that I had to chuck out. But it gets even better because I bought a load of M-discs back, which cost me roughly £4,000 of my dole money. And obviously I decided to use that because I wanted to get the discs for future use. Well, believe it or not, the storage place that I put my stuff in, which had other stuff in there as well, which was, well, probably another 800 quid or whatever, all that's been broken into, and I can't get it back. And I can't get compensation from the police or the people because it's not insured. So I thought, oh well, I'm really fucking happy about that. So you can see why I've lost my temper, and you can see why my days are not very good, and why I have, you know, been in a shed and had the home treatment come around to try and medicate me with high dosages of medication because they're not happy with the situation. And then you've got to take into account the burning has started at my place. When I was at my old place, I was getting eye problems, but it's burning at this place, and so bad that I had to stay at my dad's for 7 weeks. When I was at my dad's, as I said earlier, I think I said it earlier, I didn't experience it once, and then went back and it started again. However, we're going through a stage where I'm not feeling too much. But so I bought some RFID sheets with the last bit of money, dole money I got. But it gets even better because my money now, I'm at the lowest I've ever been with the amount I got in my bank account. I've got only just enough, at this minute in time that is, to pay for my bills and buy my alcohol in the evening, and I've got no money to sort of replace a camera, replace that. I'm literally down at the bottom at the moment, and it gets even better because they've deducted my money now, and there's also a support charge that I've had to pay towards that building as well, which has gone into the what is it? I can't remember what it is, but it's several £100 a month I have to pay on out of my dole money. And I've had first position on gold banding with the council as well, the home finder, which is well, basically if you're on gold banding and you're first position, you're supposed to go for that property, or they're supposed to offer you that property. Well, they're not doing it like they did before when I moved out of Bridgewater to move to Burnham-on-Sea, because that's how it worked back in that time. They do it different now. They assess the situation regardless of the banding and choose themselves basically, and they're more interested in giving it to single teenage mothers or those types of people under the age of 25, or homeless people that are working. Believe it or not, homeless people are on a lower banding than I'm on, but because I'm in a place, I get gold banding, so that means realistically, I don't know if it still works the same way, but well, I've been first position on gold banding 14 times, 8 times in second position and 5 times in third position, and it's either been rejected, re-advertised, not prioritised, or someone else is being considered. So I'm not very happy about that, and I've been on gold banding for over 6 months, well over 6 months. What this bidding system means basically is basically priority to move from one place and having higher positions and other people that were trying to move from one place to another through Somerset County Council. Going back to my place, there's several times that I've been at my place, and obviously they've forgotten to lock the door. Not so much in 2023, but in 2022 there's quite a few times I went out and they forgot to lock my door after doing a fire check. There's a staff allowed into my property to check this. Anyway, because of the burning and whatever, more recently, in the last week in fact, I've been told off because Blue Tack puts oil marks in the wall and saying that I'll have to make a payment towards that if I move, if there's any marks on the wall, and they said it's too late, you might have to pay it already. I've taken it down, I cleaned the wall, looks like I managed to get them out to some extent, but if I have to pay anything I should not be very happy. They're not too bothered about other marks on there, but because it's intentionally, they're not very happy about it, and any foil or anything like that's all got to be taken down. So if I burn, I just got to sit there and take it. There's nothing I can do about it. So if I die, or if it is caused by an energy weapon, I ain't got no choice in the matter. The other thing I wanted to mention is this specific neighbour. Ever since I lived there, there's been hell. Every single day there's been banging his teeth to threats like, I'm injecting you with HIV, Justin, I'm smashing you out, Justin. Stuff like, I'm ready now, or this is turning fucking ugly, or you're being injected with a HIV needle, you're being knifed down, I'm going to fucking smash your brains out and put you in a hospital bed. You're a fucking child rapist, Justin. So you've had that, many hundreds of different threats, and along the same lines or nastier, just going on for daily, for the last, since I moved there right through to now, and it's still happening now. And this banging be up to 1,000 times a night in that sequence. I have audio recordings that I've done in the past where it's literally every second right through. This person doesn't get a sore foot or anything, but you know, I can't move from them. When I've reported noise or stuff like that in the past, it's me that's getting in trouble for it, and I've been reported for stuff I haven't done there, and it's coming back at me nasty, and I've been in trouble with the police for stuff I haven't done, which has come back at me as well. So that's the next thing I wanted to mention. I think I covered most things, so from here on I should probably just leave it to the rest of the day setups and mention how the rest of the today goes. But obviously it's sunny, and I'm not very happy about that because they predicted cloud, and I've been getting the sun every single day. There's a specific painting, I'll just mention this, where it shows a picture of a woman that looks like Laura that works in Tesco's at Burnham-on-Sea, Highbridge or whatever, the main store. And basically, she's in the sky, posing a sexual mime that goes sort of that sort of sound to describe the sexual lip, while she's laying her body in a sexual way out of the sky with hardly any clothes on. This is a painting, by the way, on a boy that's being cursed with the sun. Well, I don't like the sun, and I'm always getting the sun everywhere I go, but without the sex. Where if it's cloudy, you don't get the sex. That's what the painting's suggesting. But I'm being cursed because the picture is violating me with the sex when the sun comes out, and I don't like the sun, but I'm not getting the sex. So it's basically like that. Anyway, that painting, like I said, this lady is doing that sexual pose out of the sky, and she's shining in the sun like on a torch to this boy that's being cursed with the sun around him and cloudy everywhere else, or rainy and cloudy elsewhere. And this boy is like a lonely type person that's holding a torch in one hand and a clipboard with a pen in the other hand and a backpack on the back. Now this boy, it could be a man, I don't know, but they make it look like it's a boy. The next battery went flat, but I did manage just about to complete what I wanted to say, so I'll leave it there. There were several other records that got damaged by the radiator that I forgot to mention, and I want to mention them because they're my they're all my top favourite records, basically all of them. Intense Paradox, which had Journey to the Unknown on the other side, and also The Quickening, which is Rugged 7, which is a good looking record sub-label, and also Rugged 9, which is Intense, the Genesis Project EP, and I like every single track on that EP. There's 4 tracks: Time Space Continuum, The Dreamer, The Quickening Dope Remix, and the Genesis Project. But I do prefer the one that's on a jazz tip drum and bass CD. There's a slight variation to the Genesis Project on that specific CD than there is on the record, and I do prefer that to the record version when it comes to that specific track. Otherwise, every other track is excellent. There is a few things that I want to mention about my place that I forgot to mention. 4 of my digital audio recorders have been stolen, 3 cameras. I've had the wires cut on 6 occasions, which I believe could be by the cleaners cleaning the outside of the windows, because I have the microphones hanging outside on the windows have been cut off as well. So whether that's done on purpose, that specific thing, I don't know, but I've had that happen as well since I've been at Thorn House in Yeovil. Now and again, odd things like cheese or crisps or other bits and pieces have gone from my flat as well. Rather an unusual thing to steal, but I have noticed that occurring quite frequently, especially in the year of 2022 and 2023. Right, the overall setups was quite nasty. Obviously, my old channel, so you've got like splatter van, blood van, our service will smash you to pieces, sick cunt t-shirt, gothic bloody writing, knife you down t-shirt, tearing you to pieces, child rakist van, child Leicester van, Rico, Artie, Keedwell, Rent a Kill, Making a Kill, Row Kill. Bands with that or higher suggestions or harder suggestions and that are very frequent, but what I'm doing in particular with setups at this minute in time from my last YouTube and Facebook account is timing overhanging trailers to rip my legs off from behind and to nail me as a sick bastard on sexuality when I've not had anyone still in my whole life. So that's the main setups, and you can have, and it's a lot heavier than what it used to be, since because they've rigged it up in a more controlled way and a much heavier way than what it was before the lockdown. But even before the lockdown, you look at 2011, that was a bad year. So it's never been good, but just giving you an update on that as well. From now on, I'm just going to go with a day's story. Hopefully it'll be not too bad. A drain cover to be hit over as frequent, and also just catalytic converter setups like with an exhaust. Obviously they're doing away with those for electric cars. You've got to put up with the smell of vinegar or the smell of rubbing crest between two stainless steel knives being choked by the catalytic converter that's being set up all the time. Right, at the moment I'm being choked by a catalytic converter. Over the last 5 years, sorry about the windy weather, but it's the way I'm being pushed about with setups. I've been collecting cryo chamber CDs, which is dark ambient, dreamy sort of music that's dark. So I've had a couple of them. I've had Atrium Carceri, or Carceri however it's pronounced. What's it called? Echo CD, Onyx CD, Dahlia's Tear, Drifting Across the Shifting Abyss. I've also had Mount Shrine, Dream Chambers, Agasonus, Book of the Black Book of Earth or something like that, and quite a few others, 32 in total, right? And also the soundtracks as well, sort of, they're not so good those, but the Old City of Leviathan, and just to keep a long story short, I had 32 of those sort of CDs. Well, in November, after collecting them for 5 years, take into account there's about £1,000 worth, so about £1,000 worth, because my other music went because of energy weapons messing them up at my old place, or deterioration that's caused it from another source. Well, sexual motorbike tying to an erection, a white sexual motorbike. Yeah, they don't stop this, they never will. I've got this for life, they won't be ripped to fucking pieces. Living up to my name, Justin Tom. Right, anyway, so what happened was I went to save them in November onto my laptop. Although I didn't have any discs, I did buy some, but those discs that I bought, those M discs, because I paid about, what, £2,500 for the extra ones that I wanted to buy, I also put them in the place of like the garage where I store my stuff. But like I said, I've had a break in there and I've lost it all. Well, anyway, when I went to save these back in March 2024 this year, which is just last month, none of them played. None of them played on 3 separate disc players. The disc drive, the CD player and the other CD player. However, all the other discs did, and the recorded discs did. So what I did is I had a look at the disc layers, and I noticed there's a slight, on some of the discs, that there's it's like paint coming off the wall, that sort of appearance in the disc. So I thought, okay, I know what's happened there. Energy weapons or something's fucked it up. So I lost all that music as well. So basically, I'm musicless nearly. I don't like downloads, you see. Download quality I'm not happy with, so I need to get my music on CD. But the good news is, when I do eventually move, I will have to pay about £150 for one of those discs to get that music back. So I might just go into new age music or classical music as an alternative, or see if I can find any tracks here and there that are released on CD, and just hope for the best that, you know, in the future I can have my music, or have some music, you know. But yeah, I must admit, it's not worth living. It really isn't anymore. And then obviously, like I said, with the sunny weather, it's every day you're cursed. It's circling you. But without the sex, when you consider that specific painting, it's a big painting, by the way. They were having that. They had that painting in Yandles in Martok, and it's also been on the internet. But in the summer of 2023, they got rid of that like a shot to try and disguise what they're doing. It's nowhere. You can't get it on postcard, and you can't get it on the internet. They needed to get a shot of that because they knew what they were doing, and they needed to sneakily disguise what they were doing, and they knew I wasn't going to get sex. That's why they fucking got rid of that one. I will mention something else I quickly forgot to mention. I'm known as a sick cunt by teenage single mothers, but you've got to take into account they're actually sick cunts if they're a single mother, unless they hit the age of 40 and have sex after the age of 40, because that's what I'm being told. If something like that applies to me, it should apply to them, so that makes everyone a sicko if they have had sex under the age of 40. I'm not being funny, but the nastiness when it comes to sexuality, when I've not had anyone in my whole life, and being told to have first-time sexual relationship with someone over the age of 40, or being told I'm a sick bastard, as I mentioned earlier in this recording, then it's conspiracy wars. I'll just quickly give you a name of a few CDs that got damaged by what I'm suspecting is energy weapons or environmental health or the atmosphere that's messed them up. This goes back at my old place in music I've lost. Jungle Techno 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 from Jumping and Pumping Records, which was released in the mid-90s or early 90s. You had Jungle Business Volume 1, which is on DJ recordings or Scratch records or whatever. You had Drum and Bass 40 Drum and Bass Floor Burns Volume 1 and Volume 2, which are 2 4-CD sets. Jungle Splash Takes You Into Jungleism Volume 1, which is IB for Records, I think. You also had Jungle Hits 1, which is on Street Tough Recordings. You also had Hard Leaders 3, 4 and 5, which are on Kick-In Records. You had Drum and Bass Euphoria, which is Jumping and Pumping Records. What else did you have? Source Direct Approach and Identify from a Wire CD, which is a magazine CD, which is very hard to get because it's not an official release, but from a magazine. Essential Drum and Bass Volume 3, where you had Degenerated Hemoglobin on it, so I've lost that one. In fact, there's quite a few CDs, I could go through loads of them. PH Division, This Is the Best of Jungle Volume 2, for DJ Divine and Essence, Ease Up, and Drum and Bass Selection 2, what is it, Breakdown Records, and obviously there's loads, but yeah, they all got messed up. Something in the atmosphere just messed all these up. This is why I've lost all my music of the past. And the Revolutionary Generation, I lost that one, but I'd get that one back. That one I still got at this minute in time, so I do still have Natural Mystic, Got to Have You, which is an excellent track on that CD. 3 other good CDs that got lost due to energy weapons where it damaged the discs. This is Jungle, Ultrasound Jungle. It's a picture of a man bending backwards. It's a US release. We had Ganja Crew Cops, Johnny Jungle VIP mix, and Dillinger Deadly Deep Subs, the remix, which were good tracks on there. Also you had Jungle Massive Collective 1. I lost that one as well. There was one really good track I liked on that, which was Undercover Agent Rougher Part 3, Splash Recordings. And also you had Basic Elements. There was only one track I liked on that album, Jumping and Pumping Records, and that's Atomic Dog Future Now. I mean, there's a load of other CDs as well. Jazz Jungle, for example, which is on Urban Street Collective Recordings, which is one of the less popular albums. I mean, loads and loads of tracks that I've lost thanks to these energy weapons and break-ins and whatever else. But I'll leave it there on that subject. But like I said, I still got the Revolutionary Generation, the track titled Natural Mystic, Got to Have You on Creative Wax Recordings, and I still have Unit 1, Love Me, on Creative Wax Presents Reviews, which is track 10 on that specific CD that was released in 1996. And the other track I still have is on Good Looking Records Points in Time Volume 4, called Parallel World Contagious, which is track 2 on that Volume 4 CD of the yellow cover. So I still got a few tracks, but 3/4 of them, more than 3/4, 99% of it is gone. But it's only for those few tracks, and Andy C. Roll On I did have until the beginning of this year, where I accidentally stamped on the CD. So, doing well. I still got those 3 tracks, but that's it. Just before I had the other Facebook suspended, I was chatting to someone who had a rapture dream. She's only 21, and believe it or not, she's a Christian, has spoken to Jesus Christ. And when I sort of asked a few questions or whatever, even she's got me down as a sick cunt, believe it or not. Just to let you know, like always, this is every single day, the sun's come out. But what they're doing now, I forgot to mention this, is when the sun comes out, it's raining at the same time. So when it rains, or you get these torrential rainstorms, that sun is still out. So they're sort of separating the sky into sections to cause that to happen. Right, I just got mud in my foot. Nothing I can do about that. It's because it's been raining, see, heavy. But what they've been doing in the last 2 weeks is they've just messed up another photo by bringing the sun out. So there's been a bit of cloud, but hardly any today. And obviously it's turned out sunny where I want to take a picture. But the one thing I wanted to mention at the moment is they're trying to be sneaky, especially in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So what they're doing now is when a torrential rainstorm occurs, they're causing it to be sunny at the same time. So they're arranging the sky state so that there's blue sky and sunshine over me from one direction, but when there's a torrential rainstorm or heavy rainstorm, that's over me, getting me wet, but trying to keep the sun out at the same time. So they're starting that trick. Now they've been doing that for years, but not very often, not very frequent, but now this is becoming more frequent and more controlled in a way where it's making me think it's being done deliberately. A lady in a car said every single female hates you. I'm stinking you out with a catalytic converter. And she shouted something else, but I couldn't make out what it was. She's only a young lady in her early 20s, a sexual looking type. But at the time she did say that, I am actually being choked by a catalytic converter stench, like a vinegary type smell. Right, I'm currently in a rainstorm mixed with sunshine. But what I wanted to tell you is about a week ago, just before Easter, believe it or not, someone was chucking some rubbish out and they had a box of old records, and it was all my sort of music, old school jungle, and I had the shock of my life. They had Rev P 1994 and Net Impact Records and one or two others that I recognise. But either way, the bloke caught me, he said, "What are you doing in there? Get your nose out my fucking rubbish, you little cunt," or something like that. So I said, "I'm just having a look." I said, "I'll give you 20 quid for it," because I said I like that sort of music. He said, "No, you fucking ain't, mate." He says, "On your fucking way, mate. You shouldn't even be fucking looking through that." He says, "This is dangerous music." He says, "You haven't seen what it says on TV and the radio regarding old school jungle tracks in that genre." And basically said, "If you don't get your out of there, I'll hammer you." I said, "I won't take no money for you," and all the rest of it. Said, "That's it, they're going for the rubbish," and that's it. And then obviously I had to leave and obey his wishes because that's what he said. And then obviously I went, and then that was the end of that. There's 2 new threats that are on the increase at the moment. One is to smash me out and mug me for my money, and the other one is to fist fight me, to punch me out, to knock me on the fucking floor, to knock me flying, to bash me out, to have a scrap, but to tell me that if they don't win the scrap, they'll smash a knife in my face and take me down on the floor in a hard, vicious fight that contains a knife, but also to tell me that once you're on the floor and being knifed, that they want to inject me with a HIV infected needle. So that specific 2 threats are on the increase. Right, regarding music, I forgot to mention this earlier. Keep on forgetting to mention quite a few things actually, but the problem is with getting my music again is you're not going to get it, because the original recordings or the DAT tapes where the master recordings were taken are no longer available. And also, when the record companies go bust, the music goes with it. So basically, if I wanted to get my music back, unless you've got a second-hand copy, which is very unlikely, they'd have to take it from a record, record it off from a record and resell it that way, which means you wouldn't have the quality or the sound you would have had from the original recordings, of which I initially had before I had these break-ins, and when Energy Weapons or whatever it was caused my music to fuck up when I was living at Burnham-on-Sea. I've been choked by a catalyst, obviously. For the last hour I had to put up with crow, bird and dog barks in a way to say that I'm a child molester, to claim that I've raped specific girls' names, to say that I'm going to go to the fire of hell after death, to say that I'm going to be knifed down, to accuse me of rape, to say that I'm going to be knifed, to be murdered, to be smashed out, to be sexually abused again when I'm reborn into a new life, and also to tell me that to shag people that sexually abused me as a child, as well as other inappropriate names on top of that. So I'm not very happy about it at the moment, but that's the way the sounds are coming out. Someone says knife you dead, sick cunt. Someone says nothing left, water's just, you sick cunt. Right, currently being said and shouted is fucking Justin. Smash him, sick cunt. Wasn't Savan. The next thing that was semi-shouted is Jungle Justin. Fruitcake molested Sadie. Nothing left, you fucking sick cunt, child rapist. Gotta go with an old fogey said. Seagull says bye-bye after I walk into rough people. Right, I've done some of these videos separate. I decided to keep this as one story instead of including most of today's stuff. So that's on a different video with my other camera. But I just wanted to mention something else. A dog barks, lost your life, Justin. Got to be sexually abused, bad karma. There's a couple of new voice sounds that I've occurred coming from animals. but it's documented on the other video. There's people playing sports and they're saying, lost your life, Justin, you child molester. That makes no difference, because I've had threats for many years in this way. I've been accused of raping this Stephanie and whatever. If we go back to 2008, I was at the carnival for a short period of time with relatives that I no longer speak to because they fell out with me. They're accusing me of stuff on that specific night with Sadie, where Ricky Hux took Sadie back on that specific night, and I'm being accused of stuff that's not true. Where I stayed at the carnival at that time, and there was one of the speakers that was speaking over the carnival was actually saying that Justin is a child rapist, raped Stephanie, cut his wrists, he's a sick cunt, make sure you just tear him apart or something like that. I can't remember what it was, or what was it, molested Stephanie, tear him apart. I remember the saying now. So that was one of the things. That's just one out of many, out of hundreds, thousands of incidents. And obviously if we go back to when I was meeting up with single ladies on dating sites, there was road closures, the bus service was taken off on that specific day, and also they closed shops on specific days that I went to meet up, especially in the 2005 to 2012 area, or just a bit before 2012. And this is not just a couple of times, this is like hundreds of times for many different things. But yeah, it has caused me to lose on dating sites and whatever. And this action doesn't stop today. There was a small time period where this specific thing wasn't happening so much, or hardly at all. And it's in the years between 2012 and 2018, or just before the lockdown. And then it all began again, and it all started up. And then obviously when I moved to Yeovil, after the first 4 months I was there, everything turned spiteful against me in this way again. And also, like I said, in the past, the staff changed as well. The old social worker and support worker that moved me to Thorn House back in 2021 told me that they're there to help you get a girlfriend, to go out to shops, you know, go to cafes, you know, meeting up and trying to say it, because they knew that my life wasn't very good, and they knew that, you know, the time was getting serious and how old I was, and that I really do need a girlfriend and that everybody's entitled to something. And they even agreed, saying everyone's entitled to something they can fancy, even if it's not the bestest looking. You should be able to be entitled to that. Yes, everyone is. That's what they said. But when I moved to Thorn House, after the first 4 months, they treated me as a sicko and then started digging with medication. Then we have all the other problems that I mentioned earlier, from that specific neighbour getting nastier to treating me like a sick so-and-so, or putting me down as causing all the trouble in the building, and so on. So yeah, things have just gone back to that level. And they took away the meeting benches, where the police organised with the council to have benches in the town where people sit on them, and a chat bench to make friendship, to try and get you into a relationship with someone. They took all those away, and then obviously there was police coming to see me and getting unhappy with me. And as we stand today, they don't want me writing down anything when I'm walking about in the street, or photographing suggestions or setups, and have promised that they'll send me to jail if it continues. So at the moment I've got to be more discreet about it. Right, I'm not able to say who I've just spoken to on the phone, whether it's a home treatment team, whether it's staff at supported housing, or whether it's the social worker or whoever, but I just wanted to mention this because I've spoken to someone and they were having a go at me on sexuality and saying that the reports say that you're a dangerous person and that you're a danger to kids and women, and I wasn't very happy about it. So I got a bit shitty and I said, I've never hit a woman in my life, and I also said I've never raped a kid and I've never hit a kid in my life. So the next thing after that is I bring up my problems. So I mentioned sexuality, and I mentioned that I'm told that I'm a sick cunt if I don't go with people twice the age of the youngest people that sexually abused me as a child at the age they would have been back at that time or whatever. I'm told that I'm a sick cunt if I look at people that are single mothers, or that I'm a sick cunt this and that and all the rest of it. So after they start digging at me, getting quite nasty with me in fact, I mentioned that on sexuality I still haven't had sex. So it goes on and on like that, and then basically they were digging at me saying yes you have, and saying you have had sex, everybody's had sex. So I literally started to lose my temper, and down the phone I said, get the fact. Right, I had to cut the recording because I lost my bearings and I couldn't think straight what to say because there was people coming in my direction. So I'm going to tell you what it is now. At this stage, I started talking about age gaps and being moaned at by women that are sexual, moaning about my age. And he said, yes, but this is because you're an old man now. And he said, you're 43 years of age and you've got to look for the older type, the people that are less attractive, not the sexual looking type. And I thought to myself, that's insulting me because you're telling me to go with a negative looking person when I have not had anyone in my whole life. And also my enemies 15 years ago or more were taking the piss out of me, saying, haha, we fucked it up for you getting that sexy 18-year-old. We just made her pregnant to stop you getting anyone. And then when they did make everyone pregnant, they were accusing me of going with Stephanie. But I couldn't go with Stephanie, you see. Although Stephanie is not a sexual type, she does have very soft, smooth skin. But all the enemies that I used to have, they were going with these sort of blonde, sexual, smoother type ladies than Stephanie Jill, or Hill, or whatever her name is. So I couldn't really have communication with Stephanie Jill or Hill, whatever her name is, because every time I bumped into her, I was walking into her when I had rough enemies around me, or it was just too dangerous to speak to her. So I never got in a relationship with her, and that was for many different reasons, and because people were insulting her, and they were insulting me, trying to make me look small, and I felt stupid because of it. So there are many different reasons why I didn't get to communicate with her, and it was extremely rare that I saw her. And also you've got to think of all the accusations and stuff of rape as well, which came against me. So this is why I thought I'd stay clear of all that to avoid all the other issues. So after that, she found someone, and she's been in a relationship for a good 10 years or so. I'm not sure what the person's name is, but if I see her, she doesn't remember me, and she's just in a relationship with this person. She's been in a charity shop in Bridgewater. I've said alright, and that's it, as far as it goes. But she doesn't know me. She's lost touch. She can't even remember me. The last time I really spoke to her, to be fair, was in 1993 or 1994 Elmwood School. So it does make sense that she can't remember me, or she just doesn't want to know me, basically. Either way, it's not a problem. I don't care. I'm not bothered by it. But just last year, not last year, sorry, in 2021, she was in the charity shop in Bridgewater, and I said alright to her. You had to use a hand sanitizer or whatever to get in the shop or whatever. So she had a bit of a strict accent, nothing too drastic or whatever else. But unfortunately, just in the last couple of years, I've seen her one more time, and she has now gone into negative attraction. Very quickly, in fact. But you've got to take into account, these people are getting old now. All these people are old. And people have got grey hair that I know. People that I used to know at school are actually looking very similar to an old granny. So basically, you can't blame me for losing my temper all the time when I go out if people start on me. Because not on top of that, you've got to take into account all the threats I'm getting, being mistaken as civilian, all the violence, the aggressive shouting is all done on sexuality when people are starting on me. When there's nothing I can do about that. And I got to sit there and take it. And the fact that you've not had anyone, apart from being sexually abused as a child, does make you really nasty and lose your temper over God and whatever. And this is what's caused the social worker or support worker to get concerned, and why they've contacted the police and the home treatment team to medicate me with high dosages of risperidone. And it used to be olanzapine when I was living in Bridgewater. Not Bridgewater, Burnham-on-Sea, where they were offering 20 milligrams of olanzapine per day. But I'll leave it there on that subject. For several years now, quite a few years now in fact, I've had clairvoyant readings. Now a lot of people just say they take it with a pinch of salt, some take it seriously or whatever. I just take it as it comes and go with the flow. Well, I've had readings where they've told me that there's going to be a negative build-up, so you're going to have to face all these problems, negative issues of whatever, but as soon as that partner comes into your life, that really sexy woman that you deserve and long awaited for, then obviously your life's going to change. But every clairvoyant reading where they mention that has fallen through, and straight after your life gets worse and worse. It doesn't get better, and there's no girlfriend in that gap before your life's supposed to get even better. So it's all negative news there. But there's one specific thing I want to mention. This is regarding a reading I had in 2014 or 2015. So what happened in that year is this lady gave me a reading. I was quite upset about it because I thought starting later in life's not good when you can't take to the negative type of attraction. But she didn't say that. She said it won't be the bestest or the most fittest looking lady ever, but she said it would definitely be someone you can fancy and have sex with, but you won't be starting until later in life. Well, she said it could be anything from about 7 to 8 years later on. Well, believe it or not, that reading is actually through, and I was unhappy about that reading when that was given. So look at my age now, 43, going on, and I've still not had sex properly in my whole life. And all the clairvoyant readings and psychic readings in the past have been wrong, except the ones in recent times. But the ones that give me readings in recent times, and it's very rare I have a reading, are very neutral, very plain, and nothing to make you happy, in fact. Most of the readings I'm getting are actually suppressing news. This just makes you feel much more down, and like stuff like, you know, the stuff that they mention is stuff like, you're going to have to face these difficulties in life. Everybody faces them at times, and your time has come to have to face these difficulties. And obviously you're not going to get a partner. You know, it's stuff like that, basically, cutting a long story short. You know, so I'll leave it there. Right, I've had to keep stopping the recordings because I'm being gassed out with a catalytic converter and I'm getting confused what to say. So I'm going to stumble through this the best I can. Well, we come to an end now. So these are all the problems that have occurred over the last couple of years, or 3 years or whatever, and things are getting worse and worse as well. So what is there really to live for? A lot of this information is on Facebook and YouTube, but because I've had those accounts suspended by the police, it means I can't give you the information, and this is the reason I'm doing this short documentary now, to explain the problems that are going on and the negative future of a life that's not really worth living. Well, firstly, we've got to think of family health. That's getting very bad at the moment, and I'm very concerned for that. The next problem is I can't go out anywhere without pre-organised setups every day I go out. Then the next problem is loud bikes fixed like a pulley to my penis tying to an erection with never a miss, so every time there's an erection there's a loud bike, and sometimes they're time lookalikes to people that sexually abused me as a child tying to an erection on top of that, but there's always a loud bike regardless. The next thing is I'm never going to get sex because I'm too old. 43 is an age where you're not going to fancy anyone and you're not going to get anyone good looking, so you're looking at grannies and trying to force yourself to fancy someone like that when you've never had anyone in your whole life. The next problem is all the threats, being photographed 150 times a day on a very bad day, with over 150 threats, with some people getting violent and some people actually taking chase even with a knife in the past. So you've got that to look forward to. Most of the threats that occur are to smash me in, to bash my brains out, to punch me to the fucking floor, to knife me down, to inject me with a HIV needle, to claim I'm a child rapist, to claim I'm a woman rapist, and to claim that I'm a woman beater and a child beater, and to shoot me dead, and to burgle me, and to make my life a living hell and misery. So what else can I look forward to? Well, now I've had a break-in where my stuff is stored, so it's stored in a garage, but unfortunately all my stuff that was there has been broken into, and that happened this month or late last month. So I contacted the police. They can't do nothing because there's no evidence. This has caused me to lose all my M-discs, all my CDs, all my recordings and everything else. So I'm left with just one Jungle CD out of all CDs that I have ever had. And then obviously you've got to take into account the energy weapons or unfortunate frequencies that are in the air have fucked up another load of CDs, like the cryo chamber CDs that I mentioned earlier on. There's only one working CD I have out of everything, and that's the one I recently ordered, and that's the Natural Mystic Got to Have You from the Revolutionary Generation CD, which I bought because I wanted to get another copy of it because of what happened as a treat when I had the break-in. I thought there's got to be just one track I can have, but straight away when it came I wrapped it in foil and I kept it in the kitchen safe. So whether that keeps all these sort of frequencies away or whatever's causing CDs to fuck up, I do not know, but if I lose that track I've lost basically everything. There's nothing worth me living for. for the rest of my life. I mean, I don't like the sunny days. I'm cursed with the sun all the time. I'm on for cloudy or rainy days. There's never a good day. You're never feeling good. What is there worth living for if your life can only get worse? Clairvoyants are rejecting payments and refunding me when it comes to eBay readings, or telling me in a brief message that there's nothing I can give you that's good news at the moment, so it'd be better for me to refund you than giving you the reading. What is there worth living for? You answer that one. Just to make things even worse, if we go back about 2 weeks ago, someone was playing a hip-hop track in a car, and the track basically says earning a living and enjoying sex with a very sexy lady, basically. I can't remember the exact phrase or term that is used, but that's what the hip-hop track said. Well, I've just had a letter in the post to tell me that the government are forcing all the people that are mentally disabled or whatever, or people like myself, into a job where they're forced to work. Well, I can't work into a job if I'm being tortured with all this criminal action against me and getting all these threats that I just mentioned, up to 150 a day on a bad day. It has been more than that, by the way, but I'm just giving you an average of a bad day of threats. So you got that, and I don't have the money I used to have because my money's been dropped for care in the building, because you have to pay for care where I live. Even though I'm treated like a piece of whatever, or nothing's taken seriously when I mention threats or problems, I still got to pay it. It's the new law that the government enforced called WHAM, I think, though I can't guarantee that. It's a 3-letter word, whatever it is. Another thing you've got to take into account is I'm insulted even by people that are kissing and cuddling their sexual teenage girlfriends. Because there was people coming and I had to make space for them to get through, I lost my bearings of what I was saying, so I'm going to give you the next bit now. Basically, as I was saying, my dole money has been cut down completely and I have hardly no money. Where I've just used a lot of money in recent times to get sort of different things or whatever, and I'm literally the lowest I've ever been. My bank account is at the bottom. I mean, you're scraping pennies nearly. So basically, what am I living for? What am I living for? Well, shall I tell you? If it wasn't for alcohol in the evenings, it would be pointless, and family, it would be pointless living. There is a few other things I forgot to mention. In nasty animal voice sounds I'm going to have to put up with for the rest of my life. Anything accusing me of rape, to saying I go into the fire of hell, to ripping me to pieces in my next life, to me being knife dead, to being attacked, or insulting sounds to tell me that I should be fucking people that raped me as a child, or to insult me in other different ways. Also, the Bible says if you commit suicide, you go to the fire of hell regardless, and God doesn't forgive. There's a specific sentence that's in the Bible that mentions that. So it means you've got to sit there and put up with all this shit regardless. The other thing I've got to put up with for the rest of my life, assuming I'm still in that building, is the neighbour underneath me giving me hell because he thinks I'm a rapist for some reason. So we've got that as well. And then obviously you've got to take into account everybody sneezing in my face every time I go out, which can be anything from up to 50 times to up to 250 times, which is very rare. It goes up to 250, but there's a specific day in 2022 where it was roughly that in one day, and I lost my temper on that specific day, like I said, with the threats and whatever else. So I'm certainly living up to my name just in time. I'm serving time, but I'm living up to my name just in time, as I said, and I'm serving time. End of recording. Thanks for listening.